everyone. Welcome to my crochet channel. Today's video is lesson 12 in our Back to Crochet Basics lessons. And today's lesson we're going to be learning how to stitch a triple crochet stitch. Now with all of my videos and these lessons, all of the stitches and techniques are in American terms. So the way the lesson videos work is at the beginning of the lesson, we have a lesson portion where I show you the technique or stitches that we're going to learn for that day. Then we have the practice project, and that practice project is when we make something to use those stitches and techniques that we learned. And that's where we're going to make these plastic bag cozies or covers or holders, whatever you want to call them. It's a fun way to practice our triple stitch and make something useful. Now, if you would like to find all 12 of the lessons, I'll put that link down in the notes underneath this video. And then I'll also put the link for just this one lesson also, if you want that. Let's begin with our lesson portion of our video. You're going to need an H hook, and the H is an H8, which is a 5mm crochet hook. And we're going to be using cotton yarn today for our lesson portion and also our practice portion. You can use any cotton that you have on hand. You can also use worsted weight number 4 like a Red Heart Super Saver if you want to. I just really like making them out of cotton. They both work just fine. All right, so what I'm going to do first is make our slip knot. And then I'm going to chain 12 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I have 12 chains, and this is just, of course, to practice with and to learn. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a row of triple crochet stitches. So the first 4 stitches are going to count as 1 triple crochet. We do not count the loop on our hook. We go to the first loop, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to stitch in that 5th stitch. So we're going to put 2 wraps over our hook. Now don't wrap too tightly. You don't want them looping around and drooping, but you don't want them too tightly either. So I have 2 wraps on my hook. I'm going in that 5th chain and pulling up another loop. I have 4 loops on my hook. I'm going to yarn over and go through just the first 2. I'm going to yarn over and go through the next 2. And that's why you don't want your loops to be too tight on your hook. Then I'm going to yarn over again and go through the last 2 loops. And you'll notice it makes a nice tall stitch, and it's perfect for open weave things or just things you want a nice tall stitch on. All right, so let's make a few more so that we get a good understanding of how to stitch a triple crochet. 2 wraps on your hook. We'll go in the next chain and pull up a loop. 4 chains, or 4 loops I mean, on our hook. Yarn over, go through the first 2. Yarn over, go through the second 2. Yarn over and go through the last 2. All right, I'll make a few more just so you can see how they work. I have found that getting nice uniform triple stitches is not to stitch as tightly as you normally do. Just loosen up just a smidge, and I think they flow much better. That's just a hint that works for me, and you need to do what works best for you, of course. Another thing, as I'm stitching, I hold that stitch. Let me show you. I have my 4 loops on there, yarn 2, and you'll notice I put my thumb right here and pull through those next 2. Then I'll wrap and I'll move up and pull through the next 2. And just by holding that stitch, it helps me not get so clumsy, because sometimes when you're working with a long stitch, it can be a little clumsy. All right, I'm going to make 2 more just to finish off my chains. And I think you can see it's similar to the double. You're just adding an extra loop, so you have to go through 2 extra loops at the end. All right, now there's a row of triple crochets. When you're going to do rows of triple crochets, you're going to need to chain 4 instead of 3. If that first chain 4 is counting as your first stitch. And then of course you're just going to stitch in the tops of them unless your pattern tells you different. And it may depend on what you're stitching if you make a row of triple crochets or you put stitches between. For instance, I may chain 2, I may skip the next 2, and then make a triple crochet. Just depends on the pattern that you're following. And there I have a nice open weave. So that's how you make a triple crochet. I'm going to walk through one more, and then I think we'll be ready for our practice project. 2 wraps, go through the stitch or chain, pull up a loop, 4 loops on your hook, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over, go through the second 2, yarn over, and go through the last 2. And that is your triple crochet stitch. I think we're ready for our practice project portion of our video. We're going to be making plastic bag keepers. And it's a great way to keep all those plastic bags you get from stores so that you can reuse them. I made the small one about 9 inches long, and it's the perfect size to keep in your car, in an RV, in a van or a truck, or even maybe just in your yarn room to keep track of those extra Michaels and Hobby Lobby bags. This long one measures about 13 inches, and I keep this one in the laundry room. So when I'm done bringing in the groceries or whatever I happen to get a bag for, I can pop it right in here, stuff it in, and the bottom is easy to pull out those bags. All right, so that's what we're going to be making for our practice project. Now, you're going to need some cotton yarn. It doesn't take very much, and of course, if you make it longer, you're going to need a little bit more. I'm going to be demonstrating the small size today, and then I'm going to explain to you how to make it longer, and it's really, really easy. You're going to need an H hook, and the H hook is a 5mm H hook. You'll need a pair of scissors, and if you want to measure your bag, you can. You don't have to, because it doesn't have to be exactly 9 inches or exactly 13 inches. And if you want to make it longer, you can measure as you go. And then, of course, the last thing you'll need is your needle, just for weaving in your ends. We're going to start at the bottom where the little hole is, work our way up to the top, and then add the little loop for hanging it up. We're going to begin with a slip knot. And then we're going to chain 12 chains. There's my 12 chains. I'm going to join in a circle by pulling that loop through. There we go. And then we'll just make that little stay knot. Oh, there we go. To keep our loop from coming undone. And there's our little loop where we're going to pull our bags through. We're going to be double crocheting around this chain. We're not going to go in the chains themselves. We're going to go around. So I'm going to go through, pull up a loop, and I'm only going to chain 3 because we're going to begin with double crochets. Alrighty. Now, We're going to stitch 15 double crochets around this loop. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet. So yarn over, go in that whole loop, and stitch your double crochet. And just in case you can't remember what we learned with our double crochet, you yarn over, go through the loop or stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, and yarn over and go through the second 2. That's our double crochet. All right, so now I'm going to stitch until I have a total of 16 double crochets, and that's counting my chain 3 at the beginning. So I have 16 double crochets counting my chain 3. We're going to join to the top of this chain 3 with a slip stitch. So put your hook in, pull out a loop, and then pull that loop through the loop on your hook, and then chain 3. We're again doing a row of double crochets. And what we're going to be doing is placing 2 double crochets in each of those double crochets around. So we're going to place a double crochet in the same stitch as our chain 3. And then we're going to place 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets around. And we started with 16, and so we're going to end with 32, because 16 and 16 are 32. So all the way around, stitching 2 double crochets in each of the double crochets around. Okay, so we'll continue this all the way around, and then we'll join again to the top of our chain 3. So here's my second row. Now, if you go ahead and weave in your end here, which you can, I went ahead and took my needle and weaved it in. Don't close this hole, because that's the hole where we're going to pull our plastic bags through. All right, I now have 32 stitches. I'm going to join to the top of that chain 3, and I'm only going to chain 1. This next row, we're going to place 1 single crochet in each of the double crochets around. So we'll go right in that first stitch and stitch a single crochet. And if you're not remembering what a single crochet stitch is, you go in the stitch or chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, and just go through the 2 loops. Makes a nice compact stitch. And I like to use it here because it just sort of helps the bottom of the bag hold its shape. Oops, I tried to stitch 2 in that one. That won't work. 1 single crochet in each of the double crochets around. And then the next row, we're going to get to start practicing our triple crochets. So 1 single crochet in each stitch around, and then we'll join to the first single crochet. I've got my row done of my single crochets all the way around, and I'm going to join to the top, or to the first, I should say, single crochet stitch, not the chain 1, but the single crochet with a slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 5. This chain 5 counts as 1 triple and a chain 1. We're going to skip the next single crochet and stitch a triple crochet in the next stitch. So I need 2 wraps. Here's my one I'm going to skip, and I'm going to go in the next stitch, pull up a loop, and now we're going to do a triple crochet. Chain 1. And the way this row is going to work is we're going to skip the next stitch. We'll stitch a triple in the next. I've got my 2 wraps. We'll go in the next single crochet and stitch our triple, and then chain 1. And we'll repeat this all the way around. I've got my 2 wraps. I'm skipping the next stitch, and I'm going in the next one and stitching a triple crochet and chain 1. Skip the next. Stitch my triple, chain 1. We'll do this all the way around this row. Triple, chain 1, skip, triple, whoops, chain 1. And that's the way this row will work. And you'll start to notice that it's starting to come up because we're not increasing anymore. We're just stitching in rows now, or rounds. You can call them both. So we'll skip the next stitch, stitch a triple, and chain 1. Repeat that all the way around this row, and then I'll show you how to join. You can see that I have completed this row, stitching 1 triple, chain 1, 1 triple, chain 1, skipping every other one. We ended with a triple and a chain 1. We'll skip that last stitch, and now we're going to join. And what we're going to do is we're going to join to the 4th chain, not the 5th, because our 5th chain is our chain 1, and our 4th chain counts as our triple. So we'll go in the 4th chain, grab a loop and pull that loop through the loop on our hook, and then we're going to chain 5 again. All right, and now this is how our next row will work. We'll triple crochet in the triple crochet and chain 1. Then we'll triple crochet in the triple crochet and chain 1. And that's how we get that mesh look. 2 wraps. We chained 1 already, so we'll go in our triple crochet and stitch a triple and chain 1. It's really simple, and it's a great way, like I said, to practice stitching triple crochets and make something fun and useful. All right, so that's the way that this row will work. And of course, we'll do this all the way around. Triple stitch in the triple and chain 1. Triple stitch in the triple stitch and chain 1. All the way around, and then we'll join the same way we did on this row. We'll join to the 4th and chain 5. I finished this row. There's my chain 1. I'm going to join to the 4th, 1, 2, 3, 4, with a slip stitch and chain 5. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to repeat what you did on this row until you have 7 rows total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you're making the 9-inch bag, you're going to repeat until you have 12 rows if you want to make the 13-inch bag. Or you can repeat it until it's as long as you want. If you're a big bag keeper, you can make it as long as needed. All right, so we'll just repeat the row we just did till we have 7 rows for our demonstration today. But you can make it, like I said, as long as you want to. So I'm going to stitch until I have 7 rows of this mesh stitching with the triple crochet, chain 1. you can see that I have done my 7 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And remember, if you're making it longer, just do as many rows as you want to for the length that you want. I joined again, and I'm only going to chain 3 because we're going to be doing a row of double crochets, not a row of triple. And the way this row will work is we'll place a double crochet in the chain 1 space, and the chain 1 space is just the hole that's made when you chain 1. And then we'll stitch a double crochet in the triple. And this is just going to give us a nice trim around the top of our bag keeper. So the way the row will work is 1 double crochet in the chain 1 space, 1 double crochet in the triple stitch, chain 1 space, triple stitch, working all the way around so we have a nice row of double crochets. And because we didn't add or subtract any stitches, you should have 32 double crochets. So I'm going to continue all the way around this row, stitching 1 double crochet in each chain 1 space and in each triple till I get all the way around the top of the row, and then I'll join to the top of my chain 3. So I have completed that row of double crochets. I'm going to join to the top of the chain 3, since it's double crochets, with a slip stitch and chain 1. Now this last row, we're going to place 1 single crochet in each of the double crochets. Just working around the top of the bag, and that just gives us a nice sturdy trim and help the bag keep its shape. So again, I'm just going to work around the top of the bag, stitching 1 single crochet in each double crochet around, and then I'll join to the first single crochet, and then I'll show you how to make that loop. There's that row of single crochet all the way around. I'm going to join to the first single crochet, not the chain 1, and then I'm going to chain 20 chains. There's 10, 15, and 20. Now, the length of this loop I usually make so it can fit over the knob or maybe the gear shift or something like that. If you want to make it longer or shorter, that's of course up to you. So I'm going to join to that same single crochet with a slip stitch. And now I'm going to cut my yarn. There we go. Pull that out. And then I'm going to pull that yarn to the inside of my bag. So I'm going to put my hook through and pull that in so it's on the inside of our bag. There we go. And then we can weave that in with our needle. Just thread it on there. And we can go back and forth. One way, go up a stitch or 2. And then go back the other, and then I'll just go back the way I came. We want that loop to hold because it's going to hold our bags in place, and we don't want them to fall off, drop on the ground and fall off. All right, so that's our bag keeper. Here is the finished small size plastic bag keeper. Turned out so cute. This one's going to go in my car. And I hope that you enjoyed lesson number 12 and learning how to stitch the triple crochet stitch.